Why do some women feel a stronger pull towards the man who's distant while overlooking the one who's always there? And why does your silence seem to echo louder in her mind than your constant presence ever did? In today's discussion, we're diving into something deep, what a woman feels when you're not around. And trust me, it's much more than just she misses you. There's a lot happening emotionally behind the scenes, and we're here to break it all down. When you're absent, a woman doesn't simply feel loneliness. She goes through a range of emotions, and depending on who you were before stepping back, that roller coaster could end in either regret or the freedom to move forward. Let's get real for a moment. Many men think that being constantly available, always, texting, checking in, and being around is the way to show they care. But do you know what that really does? It makes you predictable, too familiar, and eventually replaceable. But here's the secret. Your absence is where the real impact happens. That's when she finally has the space to reflect, not just on you, but on herself, her desires, and what she truly wants. In this video, we'll explore exactly what goes on in a woman's mind when you're not there. Not in theory, but in reality. Let's uncover how your absence can either haunt her or set her free. If you've ever pulled back from a woman, whether on purpose or because life got in the way, this video will explain what happens emotionally. On her end, you'll learn how to make your absence felt, not just noticed. Stick around and let's get into it. Point 1. She feels your worth. When you're gone, let's talk about the truth most guys miss. A woman often doesn't realize your true value until she feels your absence. When you're always available, replying instantly, always showing up, what happens? You become a part of her routine. You're expected, familiar, and yes, predictable. Once that happens, the mind stops appreciating what's always there. It's not because she's trying to be unfair, it's just human nature. We stop valuing things we don't have to earn. But when you step back, when you're focused on your own life, that's when she feels the difference. Suddenly, the emotional safety net she took for granted is gone. She feels the weight of the silence, and it triggers a range of emotions. She might start wondering, why hasn't he called? Did I mess up? Is he moving on? This is when she starts doing the emotional work. Here's the catch. She doesn't miss you immediately. She misses the feeling you gave her, the sense of importance, the attention, the validation. When that's taken away, she realizes just how much it meant. Let's say you used to check in with her regularly, making sure she felt heard and appreciated. Maybe you stopped. Maybe you pulled back because you realized you were giving more than you were receiving. Whatever the reason, suddenly that nightly call she took for granted is something she longs for again. She may even replay old messages or check her phone, wondering if you've reached out. She's not weak or needy. She's simply feeling your absence, and it's making her realize how much she valued your presence. Point 2. Your distance makes her chase herself. When you step back from a woman, something unexpected happens. She doesn't just chase you, she starts chasing herself. It might sound strange at first, but here's what that really means. When a man is constantly present, many women subconsciously use that presence as a distraction. They soak up the attention, the validation, the emotional comfort, and in doing so, they don't always take the time to reflect on how they truly feel about you or themselves. But when you pull away, the emotional noise disappears. Suddenly she's left with her own thoughts. No constant messages, no reassurance, no emotional comfort. Just her. And that's when the real chase begins. But not after you. At least, not yet. She starts chasing clarity, trying to figure out her feelings, and seeking that sense of control she lost when you backed off. Women are emotional processors. They replay conversations, overanalyze interactions, and often wonder if something changed about you or about them. This mental loop speeds up when they don't have easy access to you. And here's the part most men overlook. Women don't like emotional confusion. They need answers. They need clarity. They need to know if a man is truly invested, if he's slipping away, or if he's testing her. When you create distance, you create space for her to process those feelings and search for answers. And often, those answers aren't comfortable. She starts asking herself things like, why do I care that he's not calling? Was I taking him for granted? Do I miss him, or just the attention? These questions are her way of chasing herself, not because you told her to, but because your absence created an emotional vacuum. This is where emotional tension builds. You didn't chase her, flood her phone, or beg for attention. All you did was step back, and now she has to deal with the silence. That silence becomes a mirror, reflecting her behavior, her choices, and her attitude toward you. And that's when the shift happens. It's no longer about whether you're enough for her. Now it's about whether she was enough for you. When you were always close, she had the control. She reacted on her terms, but now that you're distant, she's reacting to your terms. That imbalance makes her restless. It's not about punishing her. It's about creating space for her to feel anything at all. In your absence, she doesn't just chase a man, she chases the version of herself that mattered to you. And that's when the power dynamics shift. Point 3, she remembers what she took for granted. Every man who's ever been taken for granted knows the feeling. You gave her your time, your attention, your effort, and she acted like it was nothing. She didn't flinch. She didn't thank you. She expected it as if you owed it to her. But here's the twist. When you walk away, that same woman starts to remember everything you did for her. It doesn't start with peaceful nostalgia. No, it begins with guilt, shifts to frustration, and eventually leads to reflection. That's the emotional cycle. She begins to remember all the little things she overlooked, the compliments she ignored, the support she never acknowledged, the effort she brushed off. And the reason she remembers now is simple. She no longer has it. When you're always around, your presence becomes background noise. She knows you'll text, you'll call, you'll be there. It becomes so predictable, so available, that it's easy to overlook. But once you pull away, when you go silent, go cold, or go missing, everything she took for granted suddenly comes rushing back. It's not because you were perfect, it's because now she has nothing to distract her from. What's missing? She'll sit in the silence, and all the things she used to take for granted will come flashing back to her. She'll realize not every man listens like you did. Not every man checked in like you did. Not every man made her feel like she mattered. Without trying to use her for something, and whether she admits it or not, she'll feel the weight of what she didn't value. That's when regret starts to set in. And let's be clear, regret is not just sadness, it's a mix of guilt, shame, and memories. She'll replay moments in her mind, but this time with different eyes. Eyes that now see the value in the things she didn't respect before. Eyes that wish she had appreciated what she thought would always be there. This is why your absence matters. It's not about punishing her. It's about giving time and space the chance to teach what you never could. Because when a woman has to live without the version of you she took for granted, she finally learns the price of your presence. Point 4. Her emotions turn against her. At first, when you pull away or go silent, she might seem unbothered, maybe even relieved. She could appear to have more space, post more, go out more, laugh louder online. You might think she doesn't care at all. But what you're not seeing is what happens behind the scenes, the part no filter or story can cover up. After the silence sets in and the distractions fade, her emotions begin to work against her. Here's something most men don't understand. Women often feel everything twice, first emotionally, then mentally. So even if she plays it cool at first, eventually her emotional system will turn on her. She'll begin to feel guilt, doubt, jealousy, confusion, and anxiety. It's not because you've sent her a long text or begged for her attention, it's because you didn't. That lack of contact forces her to deal with feelings she's been avoiding. And here's the twist, her own mind becomes the enemy. She replays your last conversation, looks for hidden meanings where none exist, wonders why you didn't chase her, and questions whether she was even worth the effort. All those things she used to be certain about, like your connection, suddenly feel uncertain. And that's when it stings the most. Before, she could rely on your attention to soothe her doubts, your messages, your calls, your presence. It kept her emotional world in balance, but now, without you, that balance is gone. And without you, absorbing her moods and outbursts, guess who has to deal with all of it? She does. You're not there to argue with her or give her emotional feedback. You've gone silent. Now she's left alone to battle her own mind. That's when the spiral begins. And no, she won't always show it. Women are excellent at masking emotional chaos behind pretty smiles. But inside, the shift is real. Now she has to live with the emotional mess she never cleaned up when you were around. Let's be honest, this is the part where many men cave. You start to feel guilty, wondering if she's hurting, and think about reaching out just to ease the tension. But this is the exact moment where the power dynamic shifts. Not in a manipulative way, but in a very real way. For once, she's the one facing the confusion. She's the one losing sleep. She's the one carrying the emotional weight. Your absence didn't make her miserable. Her emotions did. All you did was leave her alone with the truth. And for some women, that's the scariest part of all. Point 5, she starts doubting her own value. When you step back from a woman, especially one who's used to constant attention, something unexpected happens deep inside her. She starts questioning herself. It doesn't happen immediately. At first, she might tell herself you're just busy or that you're playing games. But the longer the silence lasts, the more it messes with her confidence. Here's why. Your absence removes the mirror. Many women, whether they realize it or not, measure their worth based on how men respond to them. If you're texting back quickly, calling regularly, planning dates, and complimenting her, she feels desired, wanted, and safe. It makes her feel valuable, like she still has it. But when that stops, her mind begins to fill with doubt. Was she not good enough? Did she lose you? Is there someone else? These thoughts don't appear because you insulted her. They appear because you disappeared without explanation, leaving her to fill in the blanks. A woman's ego may try to tell her she's still in control, but deep down, her emotional center starts to shake. Especially if you were the one who made her feel special, the one who made her feel seen without trying too hard. That type of presence leaves a lasting mark. Let's say you used to message her every morning with a simple, "Hope you have a good day." She'd respond, sometimes casually, sometimes with excitement, but she knew it was coming. It became a rhythm, a form of reassurance. Then one day, it stops. No warning, no goodbye, just silence. At first, she pretends not to care. Maybe she even posts something flirty online to catch your attention. But as the hours turn into days, her confidence cracks. She keeps checking her phone, wondering if you're mad, if she messed up, or if you're with someone else. Suddenly, her sense of worth isn't so stable anymore. And that's when the emotional spiral starts. She goes from believing she had you wrapped around her finger to realizing she may have misunderstood her own value in your life. And that realization hits her hard. Why? Because your silence didn't just remove you. It removed the version of herself she liked the most, the one who felt desirable, in control, and chosen. Now she's left trying to figure out where she stands, not with you, but with herself. And that's the most uncomfortable place for her to be. So no, your absence doesn't just make her miss the attention. It makes her question whether she was ever truly worth it. And once that doubt settles in, it's hard for her to shake it. Point 6. Your silence makes her see other men differently. When you go silent, something shifts in how she looks at other men. It's not that she suddenly falls for the first guy that comes along, but there's a subtle change. Here's the thing. When you're present, you set a baseline. You show up, you listen, you have that quiet confidence, and you're steady. Your presence creates a standard for what she expects in a man. But when you pull back, she's left to figure out what that standard even was. Most men don't measure up to what you were to her. So, when she looks at other guys, whether it's a casual glance or a deeper conversation, she starts comparing. She notices who's texting back too quickly, who's trying too hard, who lacks the calm, composed presence you once had. Suddenly, the men she once thought of as not her type begin to look different. But here's the catch. She doesn't want those other guys. Not really. She's just confused. Her mind is torn between the memory of what you represented and the reality of what's around her now. While she might engage with others, entertain flirtations, or ask questions, it's usually because she's searching for something even they can't give her. Your silence is like a double-edged sword. It doesn't just make her miss you, it makes her realize that most other men don't compare. At the same time, it frustrates her because the guys she's seeing don't bring the same calm strength, self-control, or respect you had. And that frustration leads her to reevaluate what she really wants. She may not say it out loud, but deep down, she starts understanding the difference between a man who chases and a man who values himself enough to walk away. That realization can be painful because it forces her to face the choices she made and how she treated you when you first pulled back. In the end, your silence rewires how she sees other men. Not by making her fall for someone else faster, but by making her see that none of them quite measure up to the standard you set, simply by being a man who knows his worth and doesn't chase after approval. Point 7. She hates that you're not begging. Here's a tough truth that many men don't want to hear. Women hate it when you don't beg for their attention. Why? Because begging represents weakness disguised as love. It's desperation wrapped in affection. And when you stop begging, the power flips and she can't stand it. Begging tells her two things. You need her more than she needs you. You're willing to lower your value to get her to stay. When you beg, you give her control. You let her decide your worth. And most men make this mistake, thinking a little more pleading will fix what's broken. But here's the reality. Begging kills respect, both hers and yours. No woman truly respects a man who drops to his knees begging for scraps of attention. She might tolerate it at first, but deep down, it erodes respect for you. The irony is that when you stop begging, when you pull back and keep your dignity, you don't just maintain your worth, you also make her feel the loss. She gets frustrated because now you're not the man she can walk all over. You're not chasing, you're not desperate. You're showing her that you have options, and that's terrifying for her ego. This is where many men go wrong. They think showing strength means chasing harder or explaining themselves. But real strength is walking away silently. It's knowing your worth without needing constant validation. It's staying calm when she acts out, confident that you don't need to beg to be wanted. If you want a woman to truly respect you, stop begging. Stop texting first all the time. Stop apologizing for your feelings like they're a crime. Stop lowering your standards just to keep her around. When you do this, you regain control of your life. Here's the advice every man needs to hear. Your value isn't tied to her approval. If she respects you, she'll chase you. If she doesn't, your begging won't change that. It'll only speed up your loss of respect. So stand tall, be silent when necessary, keep your dignity intact, and never beg. Because the moment you do, you lose more than just her. You lose yourself. A woman only truly feels your worth when you're gone. That means most men are wasting. their time trying to prove themselves while sticking around too much. If you're constantly begging for her attention, you're giving her the power to take you for granted. The moment you disappear, that's when the game begins. And if you're not willing to step back and let her realize what she's losing, you'll never be more than an option. This video isn't just theory, it's real talk from experience and observation. I want you to think hard about your own relationships. Have you pulled back and watched her react? Or have you stayed glued to her every word, hoping she'll finally appreciate you? I'd love to hear your stories, your wins, and even your struggles. Drop them in the comments. I read every single one and will reach out to some of you personally. This channel is about building real connections, not just throwing advice out there. Remember, this journey isn't about manipulation. It's about reclaiming your value and demanding respect without begging for it. If you can do that, you won't just change how she sees you, you'll change how you see yourself. That's where true power begins. So, don't hold back. Comment below, share your truth, and let's talk, because here you're not alone.